Oh, awesome.
Ka pai, kia ora. Today we're going to be talking about something called Whakawhanaungatanga and building sustainable relationships in the Waikato region. Today we're going to explore the examples that both of us have in our perspective work. Mine acknowledging my cultural values as a Māori, and Jo's expressing her cultural values as a Pākehā. Whakawhanaungatanga has many meanings, and its meaning can change depending on the context in which it's used. And so whakawhanaungatanga essentially is about connecting and creating relationships. Introducing yourself is integral to whakawhanaungatanga. No doubt you heard me. So I'm here, I'm trying to introduce myself. That's how we're starting off. The main message for today is that when you build sustainable relationships, really good relationships, you build a foundation for your health promotion mahi. To start that whakawhanaunga process, I'd just like to introduce myself and my colleague as well. Oh, yeah.
Can you do it, Mira? Thank you.
Tēnā koe hoa. Tuana au ki tōku maunga a herangi, rere ana ngā wai. O mōkau o awakino ki te one iha kere kere. Ki te wāhi I ora ai o ku tūpuna, arā ko Ngāti Waiora tērā, ko Ngāti Rungaterangi e mihi ana, ko Ngāti Maniapoto e mihi ana kia koutou. My mountains greet your mountains, my oceans greet your oceans, my rivers greet your rivers, and my people greet your people. Kia ora whānau. My name is Wikiwira Pokiha. I am from Ngāti Maniapoto, and I am a kaiarehi kura rangatahi for Puna Waiora at the Waikato DHB. I've worked in health for the last 10 years.
Kia ora.
Cool.
Ko ruahine ngā pai maunga, ko rangatiki te awa, ko oroa mātua ki mawawhangau te whenua. He Pākehā ahau, ko Josephine or Joe Cottrell ahau. I align with the Central North Island High Country, the Ruahine Ranges and the Rangatiki River. Oroa mātua near Mawawhangau is the land that I connect to. I am Pākehā of Irish and English descent. However, my families have been in Aotearoa, New Zealand from the early 1840s. My career has been in health, nursing, teaching, as well as working in and with communities. We are based in Hamilton, Waikato, and this presentation describes our work as health improvement advisors for the Waikato DHB in education settings. The examples of whakawhanaungatanga that we share today are based on our work in early childhood education, ages 0 to 5, and secondary schools, ages 9 to 13. Our work aims to increase the health and well-being of education, the education community, staff, students, and their whānau, by supporting the leadership of each education setting to identify the health needs within their communities and then support them to work on those. The most sustainable change we've seen comes from changes in policy, environment, and provision of education opportunities.
Oh, see you. When Joe and I started working in this area, we were asked by our management, how are you going to sustainably engage with the communities that you're working in? How are you going to connect your schools and your ECEs? And so for myself as a rangatahi Māori, my only way to really understand that question was to draw. And so from brain dumping and just drawing and doodling came this picture. Now this picture is of a marae, and it's based on my marae back in Mōkau of Maniaroa. And this is how I thought about how I'm going to connect to the kura or the ECEs in my area. And so we shared that with the team, and we started to work on this idea. And so when you think of a marae is a cultural ground where Māori come to learn, to eat, to sleep, to meet. It's where we mourn the people that we've lost, and a place where we celebrate significant life events. And so it's really important in our community. And the same can be said for a kura or an ECE, a community education setting. And so if I were to think of any education setting, let's say a kura as a marae, I would understand that they have their own whānau, their own community that they have to look after, but they also have processes, just like a marae, that you need to go through until you're considered a part of them. So for a marae, we have a whānau group who affiliate to a marae, and they are considered the tangata whenua. And if I was to think of a school as a kura and them as the tangata whenua, I would be coming along as a manuwhiri, a visitor. So how do I get in there? How do I make connections? Most important, when coming onto a marae, there are many ways to enter, and I'm just speaking on behalf of where I'm from, and there are many different ways to look at this. However, where I'm from, we have pōwhiri. So a pōwhiri is a formal process where people go from being visitors, the manuwhiri, to being a part of the tangata whenua. They go through a process where they become part of the whānau. So when you're at a pōwhiri, there's often waiting at the gate. If you've seen it, a visitor will come to the gate and wait to be acknowledged by the tangata whenua, the people of the land. And so when we come to our schools, sometimes we're waiting at the gate to be acknowledged. Sometimes we're asking, do you need any help? And we have to wait for them to acknowledge us. Same way as you would at a marae, because they need to understand what are your intentions. So a pōwhiri process will take you through a process where they will see, are you friend or foe? If you're foe, the gates go up, the warriors come out, you're not coming in. The same with a school. If you don't have clear intentions with your kura, with your ECE, the gates are going to go up, you're not going to be allowed in, and this is when they're not going to answer your emails. If they realise, oh, actually, they're pretty cool, they're friendly, we'll start the process, bringing them in. We'll start connecting. And so that's just one way that you might be able to get into a school or a marae. A second way, if you've already been in the front gate, you've been through the rituals, the protocols, the practices, you might be considered part of the whānau. Instead of entering through the front gate, you're getting a tea towel and you're being told to go around the back. That's essentially where we want to be. We want to be a part of the school. We want to be helping out where they need us. The last way that I'd like to talk about is a tuakana teina approach, where if you're completely unaware of what to do, you can ask somebody who knows how to do it. Have you been to that school before? Do you know the people? And start a mentoring relationship where one person takes on a seniority role, the other takes on a learning role, but at the same time, you're both learning from each other. And so this is a way that you can also find your way into a school, an environment, a community, or a marae. So our team applied these concepts to the way we engaged with our education settings, and now we'd like to share with you our different approaches of building sustainable relationships in the communities that we work with.
So entry to early childhood settings for me was like waiting at the gate, to be acknowledged, to be invited in. I was a stranger, visitor, manuhiri, needing to describe where I was from, how I connected and who I was. Our service had not worked closely with this setting previously. Whakawhanaungatanga was also used to learn about each ECE, its community, philosophy and funding, while sharing the altered focus and support offered by Health Improvement Service at Waikato DHB. Discussions deepened, and as they became more in-depth, issues were raised, thus developing whakapono or trust. My example was based around a community-based centre run by a charitable trust in a community of extremely high need, where concerns were raised about managing increasing violence and disruptive behaviour from several of the tamariki or children. While previously limited to one or two, these incidences had escalated, and this concerned staff who felt ill-equipped to respond and were feeling unsafe. Important is ngā manakura, or leadership within the centre, sharing ideas. The ECE manager shared her knowledge of the tamariki, whānau, and the wider community. We both understood the impacts of poverty in low socioeconomic communities, and I was able to offer literature and resources related to behavioural issues that suggested that staff might explore the use of differing responses with those tamariki not responding to current practices. The centre then worked on some of these ideas using a range of approaches. They identified clearer expectations of staff and tamariki and explored the use of available tools. Te mana whakahaere or autonomy is also important, particularly within the centre. There's been excitement about the positive change in the centre, described as changing the quality of working there. Staff are much more comfortable and confident in responding to challenging behaviour, experience positive results and feel supported. Support is offered to each other as and when challenging behaviour escalates, and now they go home at the end of each day without the bruises and scratches that had been of serious concern to their own whānau. The achievements followed the health improvement process. Policy change related to the management of behaviour within the centre was defined and agreed. Then the policy changes were communicated to all concerned, staff, management and to whānau. Environmental changes defined a bottom line for acceptable behaviour. Roles and actions are now followed with consistency. Education and communication of the policy and the proposed action with its rationale was communicated to the whānau, who now accept when their tamariki is transported home mid-session as a last line of defence. Not often used, I might add. Use of Whakawhanaungatanga allows me as a Pākehā to work with the early childhood education setting in a way that reflects the bicultural focus of their curriculum te whāriki and establishes the value of working in partnership as other issues are raised by the centre. Wiki will now describe her experience with the secondary school setting.
Kia ora, Joe. So Joe had some awesome work in one of our ECEs and I was lucky enough to see it in action. So just to share a little bit about my experience as well with secondary schools. I approached a school in my area and because I wasn't actually from the area, I didn't know everybody, but I knew that I cared about the area, which is very important. My nieces and nephews went to the school that I wanted to connect with. And so for me, it really mattered to me that I made a good connection with that kura. So for me, I connected to someone, one of my mentors in our colleagues who was from that area, and she helped me in a tuakana teina kind of way to approach the school. So these are just a few of the many learnings that she gave me. The first being whakamana. Whakamana is about acknowledging the power and the mana that other people hold, other places hold. And for me, that was about realising that the school that I wanted to work with had its own agenda. You know, they're there for education. They're there to look after our babies. They have their own values. And so we had to learn what were the values of the school and do they speak to me as an individual? Do they speak to our organisation? How do we align to them? Which was a long process. The second was kanohi kitea, so it was about being seen in the community. Our communities, the communities that I work with, don't often trust you if they don't see you out there doing the work. And so for me, that was about making sure that I connected to the right people. I knew some people in the area, and my mentor was able to connect me to the local networking forums. Went along to rangatahi support groups and met some rangatahi there who today still walk up and say hi. So just being real and connecting with your people. Once they were like, oh, who's that girl? They can see me in the community, kanohi kitea, was when I actually was able to talk to them. So before we even talk to them, all of this mahi is going on in the background. Lastly is mahi a te mahi. So once you get into the kura, once they acknowledge, hey, you can come into this process, it's about doing the work and doing it well. And so once I was able to connect with the kura, we were able to review their policies, change some policies. We surveyed some students about what they wanted to see in health in their school. We surveyed students and staff, and none of that would have happened if we didn't build those really healthy relationships right from the start. So these experiences, they grew our bag of skills and helped us to apply these values on a wider level.
Biculturalism is integral to Aotearoa New Zealand and underpinned by the Treaty of Waitangi. Whakawhanaungatanga arises from te ao Māori or a Māori worldview and is underpinned by the cultural values and beliefs that also resonate with many other cultures and ways of being. Thus, as Pākehā, I can apply whakawhanaungatanga while still acknowledging my own identity. However, I need to know and understand my own values and beliefs and the power that I hold, and be aware when these are in conflict with the values of others. This is possible for everybody.
So when we know each other and we know ourselves really well, we can walk with integrity. And when we walk with integrity, we use honesty. When we work honestly and transparently with our communities, we gain credibility, which in turn will turn into trust. Trust is the most important factor to building trusting relationships with our communities. Hei whakakapi tēnei wāhanga o tēnei rā, just to summarise what we've been saying, we have a whakatauaki here from the Māori leader, Tā Apirana Ngata. Heaps of whakatauki today, eh? Well, here's another one. And this one speaks about standing in your cultural values and acknowledging your tūpuna, but also taking advantage of the modern world and the resources that they have to offer you. Last but not least, always giving your heart or your ngākau, your wairua, to the greater being, whoever that may be for you. E tipu e rea mō ngā rā o tau ao koto ringa ki ngā rākau a te Pākehā, hei oranga mō tō tinana ko tō ngākau ki ngā taonga a o tūpuna, hei tiki mō tō mahunga ko tō wairua ki te atua, nāna nei ngā mea katoa. Tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora.
Thank you very much indeed.